All right, let's talk about something real for a second. You ever notice how some women just have that effect on men? Like there's something about them that keeps a guy completely hooked, thinking about them nonstop, craving their presence, their touch, their energy. It's like a spell has been cast, and no matter what he does, he just can't shake her from his mind. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. Isn't that just about looks? Isn't it about being super hot or having some kind of crazy skills in bed?
Nah, it's deeper than that. Looks might turn his head, but it's the way you make him feel that makes you unforgettable. That kind of pull, it's emotional, it's psychological, and yeah, it's 100% learnable.
When he's around you. And if you want to make a guy sexually addicted to you, if you want to be the woman he craves on a level he doesn't even fully understand, then you have to tap into something deeper. You have to create an experience, one that stays with him long after you've left the room.
Because it's not just about the moment you're with him. It's about what lingers in his mind when you're not. That's where the real addiction starts. The number one mistake women make in attraction.
The power of anticipation, desire thrives in space. That's something most people don't realize. They assume that the more they give, the more available they make themselves, the more a man will want them. But the truth is, attraction isn't built through constant presence. It's built through anticipation. It's that electric feeling of almost getting what you want, but not quite. That tension, that uncertainty, that feeling of being right on the edge of something amazing. It's intoxicating. Think about the last time you were really excited about something. Maybe it was a vacation you had planned for months, a new outfit you couldn't wait to wear, or a text from someone that made your stomach flip. What made it so thrilling? It wasn't the moment itself. It was the build-up, the waiting, the wondering, the imagining. And then, when the moment finally arrived, it felt even better than it would have if you had just gotten it instantly. That's how attraction works. And when it comes to making a man crave you, understanding the power of anticipation is everything. Because here's what most women do. They meet a guy, they like him, and they want to make sure he knows they like him. So they text him all the time. They always say yes to seeing him. They make themselves available whenever he wants. They try to lock it down as quickly as possible because they're afraid that if they don't, he'll lose interest. But that's not how it works. The more predictable you are, the less exciting you become. That's not to say you should play games or be distant for the sake of it, but you do need to create a sense of excitement, of curiosity, of not quite knowing what's coming next. That's what keeps a guy engaged. That's what keeps him thinking about you when you're not around. One of the biggest mistakes people make in relationships is over-giving too soon. Imagine you're watching a TV show, and in the very first episode, they tell you everything that's going to happen in the season. They reveal every twist, every turn, every surprise. Would you still be excited to watch the rest?
The best shows hook you is because they leave you wanting more. It's the same with attraction. When you give a man everything up front, there's no mystery left to unravel. And let me tell you, mystery, that's magnetic.
Now, let's talk about how you actually create anticipation in a way that feels authentic. One of the most powerful ways to do this is through delayed gratification. That means not always saying yes immediately, not always being the one to initiate plans, not responding to texts the second they come in. Not because you're trying to play a game, but because you're genuinely busy living your life. Men are naturally drawn to women who have their own thing going on. A woman who isn't just waiting around for a guy to text back, a woman who has her own passions, her own plans, her own excitement outside of him. When a man sees that you're fully engaged in your own life, it creates a sense of curiosity. He starts wondering, what is she up to? Who is she with? What's keeping her so busy? And that wondering, that's the magic. That's what keeps his mind on you.
How to trigger his deepest desire.
Another powerful way to create anticipation is through small, intentional moments of intimacy. When you're with him, be fully present, make eye contact, laugh at his jokes, touch his arm lightly when you're talking, but then pull back, let there be space. End the date while things are still fun and exciting, not when they start to feel routine. A lot of women make the mistake of thinking that if a guy likes them, he should want to be with them all the time. And while that might seem romantic, it actually has the opposite effect. When someone is always available, when they're always around, their presence starts to feel expected rather than desired. But when someone leaves just before the moment fully peaks, when they create just a little bit of distance, it leaves the other person wanting more. This is why the most powerful relationships are the ones where there's a rhythm of closeness and space. Think of it like music. If a song was just a constant unbroken note, it wouldn't be interesting. It's the pauses that make the music come alive.
That's what builds the craving. Not the nonstop noise, but the contrast. So if you want to stay unforgettable, don't just give him your time. Give him moments that echo when you're gone.
Now, this doesn't mean you should be distant or unresponsive. It doesn't mean you should manipulate him or make him feel insecure. What it does mean is that you should be mindful of how much access you're giving. It means you should pace things instead of rushing. It means you should let moments unfold naturally instead of forcing them.
Why emotional connection is the key.
But if you want to make a man crave you in a way that goes beyond fleeting desire, you have to tap into something deeper. Men might be visual creatures, but the thing that makes them stay, the thing that keeps them thinking about a woman long after she's left the room, is how she makes them feel intellectually and emotionally. A guy can be with the most stunning woman in the world, but if she doesn't stimulate his mind, if she doesn't engage him in a way that challenges him, excites him, or makes him feel something deeper, the attraction fades fast.
Stick in your mind the longest. They're not always the flashiest or the most physically perfect. They're the ones who made you feel something unexpected. And that's exactly the kind of imprint you want to leave on him. The power of mystery and unpredictability.
And here's where things get interesting. When a man feels intellectually challenged, when he feels like he's learning something from you, it builds tension. It creates an energy between you that makes everything, including the sexual attraction, 10 times more intense. Think about the difference between instant gratification and delayed gratification. If you hand a man everything on a silver platter, if you agree with everything he says, if you make yourself completely predictable, if you never challenge his opinions or bring anything new to the conversation, it's like eating fast food. You'll enjoy it in the moment, but it won't leave a lasting impression. But when you give him just enough, when you make him work for the connection, when you leave him wanting more, that's when he starts to crave you. That's when he starts to feel like you're irreplaceable, because you're not just another woman, you're an experience. Now, emotional connection is just as important as intellectual attraction. Because here's the thing, a man can be fascinated by your mind, but if he doesn't feel emotionally connected to you, the attraction will always have a ceiling. Emotional connection is what turns physical desire into something deeper, more lasting, more addictive. And what makes a man feel emotionally connected? It's how you make him feel about himself when he's around you. If he feels understood, if he feels safe, if he feels like he can open up to you without judgment, if he feels like you see him in a way that other people don't, that's when he starts to form an attachment.
Like you're not just someone he wants, you're someone he needs. Because when a man feels seen, challenged, and safe all at once, that's when desire becomes obsession, and obsession becomes loyalty. How to make him feel like a king.
And here's the most important part. Men don't just become addicted to women, they become addicted to the way a woman makes them feel. If you make him feel excited, if you make him feel alive, if you make him feel like his mind and heart are being engaged in a way that doesn't happen with anyone else, he'll be hooked. Because true addiction doesn't come from something that's easily available. It comes from something that feels rare, valuable, and irreplaceable. And when you understand how to connect with a man's mind and heart, not just his body, You become the one woman he can't stop thinking about. It's about how you make someone feel. And one of the most powerful ways to create an irresistible pull between you and a man is through sensory seduction. This is the art of making an impression that lingers, of engaging his senses in a way that makes you unforgettable. Because here's the thing, a man might be attracted to a woman's beauty, but what makes him crave her is the experience of being around her. Think about the moments in your life that stand out the most. Maybe it was a song that instantly took you back to a certain night. Maybe it was a scent that reminded you of someone you once loved. Maybe it was the way someone's touch sent a spark through your entire body. Those memories weren't just about what happened, they were about how they felt. They were about how your senses were engaged in a way that left a mark on you. That's what you want to create with a man. You want to be the woman who lingers in his mind long after you've left the room. You want to be the scent he catches in the air and instantly thinks of you, the voice that echoes in his mind at random moments, the touch he can still feel even when you're not around. That's what sensory seduction is all about.
He might not remember the dress you wore, but he'll never forget the way your scent made his heart race, or how your laugh lit up the room. That's what sticks. That's what haunts him in the best way.
Now, let's talk about touch. Touch is one of the most powerful ways to create intimacy. But here's the secret. The most seductive touch isn't the obvious one, it's the barely there touch. It's the moment when your hand brushes against his without fully touching. It's the way you let your fingers linger just a second longer than expected when you hand him something. It's the light touch on his arm when you laugh at something he said. It's the small moments that feel almost accidental but send a shiver down his spine. Men don't just respond to touch, they crave the anticipation of touch. If you're constantly in his personal space, always hugging him, always making contact, it loses its effect. But if you create moments where he wants to be closer, where he notices every little interaction, that's when he starts paying attention. That's when he starts feeling the pull toward you in a way that's almost subconscious. And then there's the power of voice, the way you speak, the rhythm of your words, the warmth in your tone. It all matters. A voice can be calming, exciting, intriguing. It can create an emotional response before a man even realizes what's happening. If you rush through your words or speak in a monotone, it doesn't create an experience. But if you slow down, if you play with your tone, if you let your voice have a natural rhythm, it draws people in. A man might not remember every word you say, but he'll remember how your voice made him feel. Think about how some people's voices instantly put you at ease, while others make your heart race. That's not an accident. It's about the energy behind the words. If you speak with confidence, with warmth, with a touch of playfulness, it becomes part of it becomes something he wants to hear more of. Now, eye contact. This is where real magic happens. Most people underestimate the power of holding someone's gaze, but eye contact is one of the most intimate forms of connection, and when done right, it creates an intensity that's impossible to ignore. It's the difference between a casual glance and a moment that feels electric. When you lock eyes with a man and hold that gaze for just a second longer than expected, it sends a message. It says, I see you, I'm here, I'm fully present with you in this moment, and that's rare. In a world where people are constantly distracted, constantly looking at their phones, constantly avoiding deep connection, a woman who can hold a man's gaze with confidence is magnetic. But here's the real secret. It's not just about looking, it's about what you communicate with your eyes. If your gaze is warm, inviting, playful, it creates a sense of safety and intrigue at the same time. If you let a small, knowing smile play at your lips while looking at him, it creates tension.
What you're thinking, it makes him want to know you more, to chase that feeling you spark in him without even saying a word. And that's how obsession begins. Slow, subtle, unforgettable. If this video hit you in the feels or opened your eyes a little, don't just sit on it. Tap that like button, smash subscribe, and turn on the bell so you don't miss the next drop of real talk.